this.
G'day crew, you're listening to the 3CIR podcast. I'm Joel Slate Cairns and I've got Ryan Jury Delaney riding shotgun. We're two ex-military blokes who love turning big topics into real talk that actually helps you move forward.
And we're fired up today. If you're new here, welcome to the family. 3CIR is built by veterans for veterans, emergency services legends, and civilians too. We're about courage, commitment, camaraderie, integrity, and respect. Not just slogans on a wall, right? That's the DNA. The mission is helping people transition, grow, and get recognized for the skills they've already earned the hard way.
Exactly. We help people map experience to qualifications through RPL and online training. So if you've ever thought, I've done the work, but I don't have the piece of paper, this is your episode.
We're calling this one Learning About RPL because that's the play today. How recognition of prior learning can turn your lived experience into nationally recognized qualifications here in Australia.
And we didn't dream RPL up on a whiteboard. It's a legit process backed by registered training organisations, RTOs, like 3CIR. It's assessment, not magic. Your real-world evidence gets mapped against industry standards.
I love starting with that because people ask, is RPL a shortcut? No, it's a smart cut. It's validating that you can already do the thing so you don't have to sit through training on stuff you've mastered, right?
Right. Think of your career as a backpack. Over the years, military, ambos, fireys, policing, security, construction, volunteering, you've thrown skills in that pack. RPL is opening it up and saying, here's what I've got, and here's where it maps.
I had a guy last week, ex-army, signals, swore he'd just done radios. We dug in and mate, he'd done project coordination, risk assessment, training others, budget bits, stakeholder communication, all project management and leadership DNA. He walked out understanding he had enough evidence for a diploma of project management through RPL. That's the win.
Before we sprint down the track, let's sketch what RPL actually looks like. At 3CIR, it starts with a conversation, free RPL assessment. You tell us your background, we ask what you've done, we map possible quals. Then we help you collect evidence. Job descriptions, references, performance appraisals, logs, photos, videos, incident reports, training certificates, even statements from supervisors.
And here's the bit people miss. Evidence can come from employment, volunteering, and community work. If you've been with the SES, Surf Lifesaving, Scouts, the Footy Club Committee, or organising community events, those hours count. Planning, WHS, comms, budgeting, logistics, coordination. That's real.
We had a parent who ran a school fet like a tactical op. Risk plans, vendors, budget reconciliation, volunteers, marketing. They ended up with credit toward a cert fee in business via RPL. You know what I mean? Skills aren't only born in boardrooms.
Let's hit the first big headline. RPL validates the skills you already have. Performance and output show the learning curve, yeah? When your work proves you've got it, RPL turns that into recognized currency.
Which matters for a few reasons. First, confidence. It's empowering to see your lived experience translate into nationally recognized quals. Second, career mobility and pay. Employers benchmark roles against qualifications. Third, compliance. In security, WHS, community services, having the qual is non-negotiable. RPL gets you there without resitting content you've lived through 10 times.
And let's be real, sometimes it's just about time. If you've got 15 years of WHS on the job, do you need to take months off to relearn hazard ID and incident response? Or can you present your investigations, toolbox talks, SOPs, and safe work method statements and be assessed? RPL says, show me, don't tell me.
That leads to another headline. RPL benefits both employees and employers. If you're running a team, recognizing existing competence saves training dollars and keeps the crew on the tools. Less downtime. Plus, it exposes the gaps, so the training you do fund is laser focused.
I coached a company through a warehouse rollout. They thought they needed everyone through a full cert program. We did RPL first, figured out who already hit the forklift ops and inventory control units just from experience. Then we targeted micro-training to fill the rest. They saved weeks and got better results because people weren't stuck in a class covering what they already knew.
And morale goes up. Recognition is retention. When people feel seen, especially veterans and emergency services folks transitioning, they stick.
Let's tackle the myth list. Is RPL only for young grads? No. The assessment doesn't care if you're 19 or 59, it's about evidence. Is RPL cheating? No. You must demonstrate competence against the standards. Is it less than training? No. It's a different pathway to the same qualification based on demonstrated skill.
And is RPL only for employees with fancy job titles? No again, volunteers are in scope. Unemployed but skilled? Also in scope. If you've been out of the education system for a long time, RPL is your bridge. It's not about who paid you, it's about what you can do.
I love how RPL levels the playing field. We had a long-term volunteer at a community centre, coordinated programs, did rosters, handled conflict, wrote reports, no formal quals. They walked away with a Cert IV in community services through RPL, and that led to a paid role. That's life-changing.
So, how does an assessor figure it out? There are a few methods. We evaluate your previous employment, position descriptions, outcomes, performance reviews. We look at volunteer experiences, letters from coordinators, your planning documents, rosters. Sometimes we do observation like a practical demonstration or a competency conversation. We review portfolios, photos, videos, procedural documents, and we align all of it to the units of competency.
Translation. It's not vibes-based, it's evidence-based. And an RTO like 3CIR holds the accountability to standard. Our job is to help you present your story clearly and honestly.
Now, every time we talk RPL, someone asks, what if I don't have enough evidence? That's okay. We gap train. The assessment shows what you're already competent in and what's missing. We then top it up with targeted learning, quicker, cheaper, and more relevant than starting from scratch.
And yes, we've got online resources to help you swap those gaps at your pace. Between short modules in our video library, leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, project management, you can sharpen specific areas without getting drowned in content. If you're listening on the way to work, maybe line up one of those playlists for the weekend, little bites, big gains.
Let's bring this home with some concrete scenarios. Military listeners, if you've led a section, you've done leadership and people management. If you've planned and delivered training, you've touched on the Cert IV in training and assessment skill set. If you've run risk assessments or safety briefs, that's WHS, comms and intel, stakeholder engagement and analysis. Logistics? Supply chain units, that's RPL territory.
Emergency services, folks, you are walking risk managers, incident command, debriefs, SOP development, community engagement, interagency coordination that maps to leadership, WHS, public safety and project units. You've also got resilience and mental health leadership in the mix, which employers absolutely crave.
Security professionals, crowd control, conflict de-escalation, incident reporting, surveillance, risk planning, cyber-adjacent awareness. Plenty of security and WHS units sit right there. And if you've led a team, we're back to Cert IV leadership and management or a diploma, depending on scope.
Civies, you're not left out. Tradies, running crews, scheduling, client liaison, cost control, WHS compliance, quality assurance, small businesses, marketing, HR basics, finance, customer service, compliance. Those map into business, marketing, HR, and leadership quals. And to our volunteers, football club treasurers, local event coordinators, charity ops, you have more evidence than you think.
Quick note on standards. In Australia, qualifications are pegged to units that describe what competent performance looks like. We map your evidence to those performance criteria. So when we say your experience meets a Cert I4 or diploma standard, it's not loose talk, it's benchmarked.
Let's talk speed. How long does RPL take? Depends on how organised your evidence is. Some people finish in weeks because they come in hot with a tidy portfolio. Others take longer because we're helping them build the story. Either way, that free RPL assessment gives you a timeline and a plan.
Costs? Again, tailored to the qualification and how much gap training you need, but here's where employers lean in. If you're a manager listening, funding RPL for your team is not just a nice to have, it's a productivity strategy. Less time off the job, better compliance, and a skills inventory you can plan around.
I had a manager say, but what if they get qualified and leave? And I said, what if they stay and you never recognize them? Recognition cuts turnover. Plus, if someone really wants to go, the qualification isn't making them leave, it's proving they were ready anyway. Invest in people and watch the payoff.
There's also an angle here for older workers or people who took a break. Parenting, caring, injury recovery. RPL helps you re-enter without feeling like you're starting from zero. You turn life into leverage.
Let's do a mini case study. A former infantry corporal comes to us, 10 years in, led teams, trained new recruits, managed gear, embedded in joint ops, wrote reports, briefed seniors. We map his experience to a Cert R4 in leadership and management through RPL, plus a few units toward a diploma of project management. He's missing risk budgeting exposure in a civilian context. So we add a short module. He finishes with 2 qualifications in under 2 months, lands a team leader role in facilities management with better pay and clearer progression. That's the lift.
Here's another. A long-time SES volunteer. They've planned community events, led a team on call-outs, done incident logs, BUHS risk work, stakeholder comms with councils. They're convinced RPL won't count because it's unpaid. We assess, line up third-party reports from their unit controller, extract their planning docs, and they gain a Cert IV in WHS and partial credit toward a diploma. The volunteer part was not a footnote, it was the core evidence.
And for an unemployed listener right now, this is for you. If you've done work, but you're between gigs, use this time to gather your evidence. Ask for statements from former supervisors, pull together your achievements, job descriptions, photos of work outcomes. RPL can help you step back into the market with a story employers understand.
Let's not forget the YouTube piece. If you're curious but not ready to talk yet, grab a coffee and browse the 3 CIR videos: leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, project management. We break down what those worlds look like in plain language. It's a free way to orient before you decide.
Also, and I want to underline this, 3CIR was founded by Australian Defence Force Army veterans. So when we say we get transition, we do. If your CV reads like a puzzle to a civilian hiring manager, we help translate. We've done it for ourselves and thousands of others.
A lot of the time, it's translation, not transformation. You already know the job. We ran a patrol base into lead a multidisciplinary team, managed resources, implemented risk controls, delivered outcomes under pressure. Suddenly, a hiring manager in logistics knows exactly who you are.
And we'll be honest with you, if you're light on evidence for a particular unit, we'll tell you, integrity is one of those 5 tenets for a reason. Better to show the gap and fix it than rubber stamp something that doesn't hold up.
There's a bigger picture too. Recognition builds national capability. When we get more people qualified who are already competent, we lift safety and quality across the board, and we do it fast. RPL isn't just individual uplift, it's workforce readiness.
All right, I want to drop some quick tips for anyone thinking, okay, I'm in. What do I do next? 1, do the free RPL assessment at 3 CIR. 2, make a skills inventory. Write down everything you do, not just your job title. 3, gather evidence, CV, position, descriptions, references, performance reviews, training certificates, rosters, photos, reports, logs. 4, ask supervisors or volunteer coordinators for third-party reports. They know what you did. 5, be honest about gaps. If you don't have evidence, say so. That's what the gap training is for.
I'll add one more. Stack your wins. If you're close to multiple qualifications, we can often plan a pathway where one RPL outcome unlocks credits toward another. For example, leadership and management plus project management often share units. Smart sequencing saves money and time.
Wait, can we talk about how this helps people who hate classrooms? I'm laughing because I was that guy. If you want to avoid sitting in a lecture, RPL is your friend. Get assessed on what you've done, then only study the stuff you're missing. That's how adults learn. Make it relevant, make it quick, and let me get back to work.
And for the study lovers out there, RPL doesn't kill learning, it accelerates it. Instead of spending time on basics, you can invest in higher level skills, advanced leadership, data, cybersecurity, whatever's next for you.
Speaking of next, we're going to circle back soon with a conversation about how employers can build structured RPL programs inside their businesses. That's coming because the demand's real.
Before we go there, I want to touch on employing veterans. Employers listening, veterans bring problem solving under pressure, loyalty, teamwork, and mission focus. RPL helps you see the paperwork match to those qualities. Hire for character, certify the capability. That's the combo.
And if you're a veteran hesitant to put yourself forward, remember those tenets: courage, commitment, camaraderie, integrity, respect. This is courage. It's taking a fair look at what you've done and putting your hand up to be assessed. No ego, just accuracy.
Let's open a loop because we're going to pick this up in the next episode on careers by upskilling. Once RPL locks in your foundation, the question becomes, what next build gives you the best return? That might be a single unit in data literacy, a micro-credential in change management, or a full diploma in HR. Upskilling strategically is how you move bands and break ceilings. We'll unpack the strategy, how to choose, and how not to waste money.
We're also going to talk about how to tell your story on a resume and in interviews after an RPL outcome, because getting the qualification is step one. Using it, that's the fun part. We'll give you scripts, examples, the whole lot.
Quick lightning round before we wrap. Who is RPL for? Employees, volunteers, job seekers, people returning to the workforce, anyone with real skills. What counts as evidence? Work documents, references, observations, logs, photos, videos, training tickets, awards, even reflective reports. Who benefits? You and your employer. Outcomes? Time saved, money saved, confidence gained, targeted training for gaps.
And the starting line is easy. Hit the free RPL assessment at 3CIR online. Share your background, we'll map your options, and we'll be upfront. No smoke and mirrors, just straight talk and a plan.
If you're still on the fence, grab a few of our videos. Leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, project management. Pick the one that scratches your itch and let it roll on the commute.
Remember, this whole outfit, we're veterans helping veterans, emergency services, and our broader community find and prove their value. We've walked this road. We keep it human and we keep it simple.
All right, final thought. Your experience already counts. RPL just makes it count on paper. And once it's on paper, the market speaks your language.
Next episode, we're diving into careers by upskilling. How to choose the right next step skills, avoid shiny object syndrome, and build a career ladder that fits you, not the other way around. Bit of energy coming your way.
In the meantime, check out the free RPL assessment and those 3 CIR resources. Don't wait for perfect. Bring what you've got. We'll help you sort the rest.
Good chat, mate. And to everyone listening, take one small step this week. 5-minute browse, email a supervisor for a reference, jot down your skills. Momentum beats perfection.
Couldn't say it better. We'll see you soon for Careers by Upskilling. Keep your head up and your mission clear.
Exactly. Catch you then.